30 years ago this fall, a law professor named Anita Hill testified about sexual harassment at Clarence Thomas's Supreme Court confirmation hearings. Now, Because of Anita tells the real story of what happened and what's changed. You'll hear from journalists, witnesses, and activists, and listen in on the first public conversation between Professor Hill and Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. That's Because of Anita, a production of Pineapple Street Studios and The Meteor, out now wherever you get your podcasts.
Right now you're hearing all your favorite music on your favorite station. But wait, there's more.
More songs from the artists you love on exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Just open the Odyssey app and click exclusive stations, then a genre to dive deeper into.
A station might be just music, or maybe hosted by Ed Sheeran, Chris Martin, or one of your favorite DJs.
Across alternative, pop,
country, soft rock,
Latin, R&B,
kids,
and even more.
Get more with exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Brought to you by Macy's, Geico, and Coke Zero Sugar.
Joining us now, as he does each and every Patriots Monday, is Patriots longtime special teams captain Matthew Slater. Matthew, thanks for joining us tonight. How are we doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we've taken a liking to just turning your question on you, that question that you ask the whole team in the locker room in those videos we see on Patriots.com. How do you feel about win number 2?
Oh, man, that was a good win for us. It wasn't the prettiest win, but in the National Football League, it's all about having one more point than the other guys. I thought the guys showed a great deal of resolve yesterday. A lot of guys stepped up when we needed it, and it feels good to get back in the win column.
Now that the game is in the rearview mirror and you did win, can we admit this felt like a must-win game?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, you don't want to put yourself in a 1-4 hole, especially with the aspirations that we have for the season. So we really felt like we needed to come out and do whatever we could to win the football game, whatever it took. We knew it would take 60 minutes. It feels like every time we play Houston down in Houston, it's that kind of game. So it certainly was no different yesterday.
Did you feel like there was any sort of letdown, or were you guys flat early? Because I heard some of your teammates mention that post-game last night. Just wondering what your perception of that was.
Yeah, well, I don't think that we started the game fast. Certainly that's something that we talk about every week is coming out, starting the football game fast. We didn't start fast, but I think what we did do was, get ourselves composed and find a way to execute when we needed to, and that was the most important thing.
What was the environment like early in that game? Because, you guys played with no fans at times last year, so, you learned to bring your own energy, but it looked like there were a lot of empty seats, and it was sort of, as they call them in Los Angeles, a late-arriving crowd. What was the environment like early?
Yeah, it was a little bit different. You did notice quite a few empty seats early in the game. And then, to our fans' credit, we had a lot of Patriots fans there, so that was kind of nice to be at an away game, an away venue, and have tremendous support. But, for us, we have to do our best to block all that out, control what we can control, and it comes down to what our football team does, the way we execute, and how we play. That's the only thing that we can focus on. So we did a good job of overcoming that slow start, overcoming maybe a little bit of a lull in the energy within the venue, and doing what we needed to do to win.
When you guys were down 22-9 in the third quarter, I think it was after that flea flicker, was there concern? What was the sort of energy or mood that you felt on the sideline?
Yeah, I don't think anybody on the sideline was too excited at that time. We just felt like we were letting our opportunities slip away, and we knew that, hey, now's the time for us to really tighten down the screws and do what we came here to do. And I think collectively everyone showed a great deal of focus of doing what they needed to do to execute their job. Certainly we weren't pleased with the way that we started out that game and the way that we played early on, but, again, you can't say enough about the resolve that we showed yesterday.
You talk about execution, and, I've been covering Coach Belichick for 20 years now, and I know that wins and losses come from execution, not momentum. But I also think there is some natural momentum in a game, and it felt like that punt play, whatever Houston was trying to accomplish on that punt play that ended up in essentially a blocked punt when he kicked it into the back of his own lineman's head. There was some momentum shift there. Did you feel that? Was that a sort of a hinge point in the game?
Well, certainly. Look, we needed a play, and we felt like the kicking game was going to give us a chance to make a play, and it finally did. And I think when you make plays like that within a game, it gives you confidence. Some people call it momentum, but I would say for us, it gave us confidence that, okay, hey, let's settle ourselves down. We can make plays. We can get ourselves back in this game. So that was a great job of guys handling that formation check that we had. The communication on that play was fantastic. From Gunner to Lawrence Guy, Jamie Collins, Hightower, everybody handled that really well, and it was a big play for us in the game that gave us a lot of confidence.
While they certainly punted the ball low and the punter had a short drop coming out of that formation, you mentioned Lawrence Guy. He played a role in that. Seemed like he got some push, collapsed the line a little bit to play a role there. He's a guy that I feel like just doesn't get enough attention around here and tends to make some game-changing plays. What are your thoughts on just what you've seen from Lawrence Guy, not only in that play, but over the last couple of years?
I'll say this. Lawrence is one of the most consistent football players we have on our team. He always does his job at a high level. He does it with great consistency, and he doesn't always get the credit that he deserves. But he's not a guy that seeks the attention or the credit. He just loves putting this football team first, loves to compete. And I think yesterday was a great example of that. You ask one of your starting defensive linemen to go out there and play on the punt return team. He did a great job of getting push on weeks, driving back the pocket, compressing the apex for the punt. And I really think, the credit has to go to Lawrence for that play. In our book, that's a block punt by Lawrence because of the push that he got. So, Lawrence, again, his leadership, his work ethic, his selflessness, it means a great deal to our football team. We're lucky to have him.
I know you can't get into their special teams meetings, but you've been around the NFL and the kicking game for as long as anybody, have as much experience as anybody. What do you think they were exactly trying to accomplish there?
It's tough to say. I think sometimes you get funky formations, and it causes the punt return team to check out of maybe a pressure look or, check out of their original call. Certain teams like to do that to challenge the return team to make sure that their communication is on point. So, it's really tough to say. I think we did a good job of handling it communication-wise. We ended up kind of dictating the down, even though I think that that's what they were trying to do. And, sometimes things look good on paper or in the classroom, but when you get on the field, they look a little bit different.
That was certainly an example of that, I think. I know you guys have always said next man up, but when the offensive line took the field yesterday, it was next men up. 4/5 of the offensive line were guys that aren't normal starters. How impressive is it for those four guys? And I know they had a week of practice and they are professionals, but to go out there and do what they did on the road to allow you guys to win a football game.
Oh, man. I'm so proud of that group of guys that went out there and played yesterday. I think a whole lot of people outside of our locker room probably thought we didn't have a chance with those guys out there. But, their leadership, especially guys like Ted Karras and James Ferentz, they've been just pillars for our team. Their character, their selfless teammates, the way they work, they're professionals. And then our young tackles doing a great job of stepping up and being ready to compete and play hard. You can't say enough good things about those guys. So proud of that group, the way they competed, the way they played together, to come out and run the ball the way that we did, to come out and move the ball in general offensively was huge. It was a huge effort. And we really don't win the game without those guys stepping up. So a credit to David Andrews, his leadership, all those guys stepping up, Coach Carm getting them ready to go. And they really went out and just played a good football game yesterday.
This isn't the first time I've asked you this. Won't be the last time probably that I ask you this. But last week we had one of those moves where everybody goes, whoa, they traded Stephon Gilmore. Are you just so numb to that now because of your life in the National Football League? Or do you still get taken aback for a second when a teammate like that is no longer a teammate?
Yeah, I don't think, for me personally, I've ever gotten to the point where I felt numb when it comes to roster movement. You have relationships with guys, and certainly we understand this is a business and things happen and players change teams. But when you have relationships with people, you have relationships with their family, and they go, it's tough. And certainly a guy like Steph, who's been a great friend, someone who shares a love of football with me. It's something that we really bonded over, our love for the game and our passion for it, our love for our families, our passion for our families. It's tough. And, I wish Steph nothing but the best. I think he's one of the best football players I've ever played with. I think he's a true gentleman. He's very humble in the way he carries himself. So it's tough. You certainly, these things happen, but you never really get used to it.
Well, I guess they say, one door closes, another door opens. You mentioned him earlier as part of the blocked punt. How cool is it when you see a guy like Jamie Collins that has been through here twice already, you see him back in that locker room and back on the field making plays a few days after signing?
Oh, it's awesome. Jamie is one of my favorite teammates all time. And he's someone that, even when he was gone, we stayed in touch and talked quite a bit. So it's great to have him back here. I joked the other day, I said, hey, this time you might as well just finish it on out here, my friend. So we love him here. He fits seamlessly into our locker room. Obviously, Jamie's talent is undeniable, and what he brings to a football team is so unique in so many ways. So we're so excited to have him back, both on and off the field, what he brings to our football team. And, let's hopefully make a run here with Jamie being back.
Some of your teammates I know were kind of joking about they think it's going to be a unique mix with Matt Judon and Jamie Collins, that they both have interesting personalities, energy. Is that going to be an enjoyable part of locker room life over the second half of this season, you think?
Oh, it'll be awesome. Those two guys do have very unique personalities in a good way. They bring great energy. They bring a great level of competition. And obviously they're two phenomenal football players. So the dynamics of our locker room were already fantastic. You add Jamie to it, it'll make it even better. And we look forward to what the future holds for our locker room and our team this season.
Okay, as we wrap this up, you've just about had your 24 hours, I guess, to enjoy a road victory to get to 2-3 on the season. The Dallas Cowboys coming to town next Sunday. Obviously, a lot of talent, Dak Prescott, Zeke Elliott, those guys. But do the Cowboys bring an aura to a game? Do you as a player feel, are they a little different as America's team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and look, we got a chance to look at some film on those guys this morning, and they are a very good football team. But, yeah, they are America's team. Look, I've got family. Most of my family, extended family, lives in Mississippi, and they're all Cowboys fans, and they have been for a long time. My in-laws are Cowboys fans. They are America's team, and, you got to tip your hat to Mr. Jones for what he's done, building that organization to what it is. Obviously, they've done that through their success on the field, but also off the field. And it's special when you get a chance to play against a storied franchise like the Dallas Cowboys. So we know the energy is going to be great this week. We know that we have to bring our best game, and it's a big challenge for us. But, anytime you get a chance to play in games like this, they're extra special, and we certainly look forward to the challenge.
Matthew Slater, thanks for joining us on another Patriots Monday, coming off a Patriots win in Houston. And we look forward to talking to you next week, hopefully after another locker room celebration where you can pull the record to 3-3.
That sounds good. Thanks so much for having me.
Keeping up with the flood of news every single day can be quite stressful. There is climate change happening. There's the pandemic, labor movements, Nicki Minaj's cousin's friend. Hi, I am Gideon Resnick, host of Crooked Media's What a Day. Each week, Travelle Anderson, Priyanka Arabindi, Josie Duffy Rice, and I are going to break down the biggest news stories of the day in a way that hopefully doesn't always make you want to cry. New episodes of What a Day drop every weekday at 5 a.m. Eastern. Listen on Odyssey, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
30 years ago this fall, a law professor named Anita Hill testified about sexual harassment at Clarence Thomas's Supreme Court confirmation hearings. Now, Because of Anita tells the real story of what happened and what's changed. You'll hear from journalists, witnesses, and activists, and listen in on the first public conversation between Professor Hill and Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. That's Because of Anita, a production of Pineapple Street Studios and The Meteor, out now wherever you get your podcasts.
Right now, you're hearing all your favorite music on your favorite station. But wait, there's more.
More songs from the artists you love on exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Just open the Odyssey app and click exclusive stations, then a genre to dive deeper into.
A station might be just music, or maybe hosted by Ed Sheeran, Chris Martin, or one of your favorite DJs.
Across alternative, pop,
Country, soft rock,
Latin, R&B,
kids,
and even more.
Get more with exclusive stations by Odyssey.
Brought to you by Macy's, Geico, and Coke Zero Sugar.